of the same opinion still. A woman convinced against her will remains of the same opinion still. My job is not to convince anybody. My job is to expose you to the opportunity. You'll either recognize it, jump on it, and get to close and cash out, or you won't. So let's look at the facts. Who's the largest property holder in this country? U.S. government, also known as the RTC. RTC put out an article. Now, I want you to understand, this article is only the homes that were available from the savings and loan crisis. And bringing up the savings and loan crisis, since it's coming to an end, let me ask you all a question. Do you realize that that is an $800 billion problem that we got? $800 billion. Who's paying that? That's right. You want to know who's paying for it? Look to your right. Go ahead. Now look to your left. When you go on your break at lunch, go and look in the mirror. Those are the people that are paying for it. The real question is this. Do you want something to show for it when it's over? Or do you want to let these guys, the foreign investors, get it all? Here is just single-family homes. And I'll show you which ones are still good. They broke down each state how many homes were available. This is not duplexes, fourplexes, it's just homes. Arizona, in the Southwest, had a total of 1,717 homes from the savings and loan crisis. I'll tell you right now, Phoenix had the #1 growth rate for the last 3 years ago, starting 3 years ago, for 2 years straight, had the #1 growth rate in the nation. And I'll tell you who moved there. A lot of Southern Californians. Yeah, how many of you know somebody that moved to Phoenix? Look around. That's staggering. I'll tell you right now, that party is over. It ended about a year ago. Don't waste your time. Florida, 1,607 homes. I'll tell you right now, before we were in Phoenix, we were down in Florida. It's over. I've already been there. Let's see. Oklahoma, 1,218 homes. Oklahoma City, last year alone, had 18.3% appreciation. Party is over there. It's done. But look at who the big hitter was, and they're still going strong. Texas, 5,685 homes. Now, where do you think you're going to get a better deal? In California, where there's 485 homes from the savings and loan crisis, or Texas, where there's 5,600 to choose from? Does that make sense to everybody? Does it make sense, yes or no?
Yes.
All right. For those of you that don't know it, Texas economy is on a major, major upswing. Why? Look at their #1 import. Yeah, did you know that? California firms right now is the #1 import in Texas. See, when the savings loan crisis happened, the Texans are very proud people. They did not just lay down and say, oh, party's over. No, what they did was they got together the best salespeople they could find, created recruiting forces just like the military's got, and came into Southern California and Silicon Valley and started recruiting businesses. And a lot of them moved. Look at this. I'll give you an example. The companies, once they talked to these recruiters, this is what they started saying to California. Yeah, goodbye, California. Why? This is, as an example, here is Steve and Lori Schwab. They own Isotrol. Some of you might have heard of that company. A year and a half ago, Isotrol is faced with $2 million in new facility costs to handle their growth. The recruiting force comes in and says, don't build that facility. We can get you any commercial building you want at 50 cents on the dollar. Plus, what they found out was by moving into the central time zone, they increased their sales $2 million a year after they saved $2 million by not building. Yeah. Right now, this is what's hurting California. Bottom line. You've heard it before. It's on the news every day. State taxes is what's killing the state. I hate to say it, but Governor Wilson made a big mistake. And that was when he took guys' income like Dante's and mine and took 9%. He had 9% of something. It's when he wanted 11% that he got nothing. That's why there's so many people leaving this state right now. Would anybody like to argue with me about your real estate going up or down?
Nope.
It's going down, isn't it? It's scary. You know, it's scary. I look at my parents' home in San Luis Obispo that they bought back in 1964, and they paid $16,500, thank God, for this home. 1988, that home was worth $275,000. Fortunately, they own it free and clear. Today, it's worth about $150,000. on the central coast of California. Now, if San Luis Obispo's real estate is plummeting that much, and we're talking about an area where a lot of corporations is headquarters because the owners want to live in that beautiful area. How many of you have been there? I mean, it's a gorgeous area. Would anybody everybody agree with that? I mean, it's a great place to grow up. But if that area alone went from 275 down to 150, 175,000 in a 2.5-year period, that says a lot about what's going on here. I want everybody to understand, I have a very strict criteria that I have to follow for Damien and Dante. I do not have just a big map of Texas, and I don't say, Dante, come here, I want to show you something. And then I pull out my dart, and I say, Dante, watch, here's where we're going to invest today. It don't happen that way. Dante makes me look at demographics, population growth, cost of living. The number one place that we have found right now for investing is Midland, Texas. And I want you all to look at this picture up here. That is not some little cow town. In fact, to many people, Midland is often referred to as the Wall Street of West Texas. Midland serves as a regional center for finance, healthcare, manufacturing, agricultural, and professional services. With more than 7 million square feet of office space, the city ranks among the state's leaders in total office facilities. For those of you who don't know where it is, let me give you a good idea. Midland sits up right next to the Panhandle. It's over by Lubbock and Amarillo, as well as, what's this border right here? That's right, Mexico. Hey, there's something else about this area right here that I want you to know. Midland sits on what's called the Permian Basin. The Permian Basin is the largest oil reserve in this country. It's where we've got all our oil. Did Dante tell you last week where he's made more money than any place in the world? Texas? Where? Okay, now Damien's from Philadelphia, right? Where does he live? Texas. Point is this. If I was doing exactly where you are, like I was 4 years ago, I would start out by trying to duplicate the actions of millionaires. Can I get the lights? I want to show you something. Midland is where a good majority of our hot sheets are. As soon as they get these lights turned down, I'll show you. Now, I did not bring all the hot sheets, and I'll tell you why. It would probably take 2 to 3 hours just to show them y'all. I brought a few just so that you can get some examples. That'll work, guys. We can figure out how to make this work. Okay, so this is sandstone. This is a complex that's in Midland. We have 1 and 2 bedrooms available there. It's a gorgeous complex. Something else I want to point out before I go any further about hot sheets, because I know some of you are interested in them. When you buy a hot sheet from us, we will not sell it to you unless it is fully rented, professionally managed, has title insurance, and you will own 100%, no liens, free and clear. We get it rented, and there is no fixing up. We've already rehabbed the units. Because see, if we rehab an entire complex, say 200 at one time, we can get the cost down than trying to do them individually. So if you decide that you do want to invest into our hot sheet program, keep in mind, be fully rented, professionally managed, completely fixed up, have title insurance. As I said, this is sandstone. We have 1 and 2 bedrooms available there. Before any rebates, I could get you one of these before rebates. Total purchase price, $16,500. $16,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condominium. It's got a beautiful swimming pool. Oh, this is something I want to point out too. These are condos that sit right across the street from sandstone. Those just were built last year. They're on the market right now, starting at $70,000. So you could either buy one of those, or you could get 4 of these for about the same price. This is Fairmont. This is a gorgeous complex. It's got a nice swimming pool, lighted tennis courts. Right behind the tennis courts, see those buildings in the back there? What that is the region's largest mall. It's the big regional mall, and it sits right next door to Fairmont.
When you say 16,000, you mean where?
Total purchase price, $16,000. And on Fairmount, I'll say the price, it's $17,000 total purchase price. That's not a down payment, sir. That is total purchase price. Yeah. Fairmont, before any rebates, I get you one of these condos, $17,000. Each one varies. We'll have to break down each one. The rents will vary depending upon the complex, anywhere from about $275 up to $650. And when you go out and see the properties, understand, we will not sell you any one of these unless you go see what you're buying. Okay, we want you to see it and see that there's new carpet and see that it's got a tenant and meet those people. Plus, we want you to pick out a property manager. We give you a choice there, just because we don't want you to force anybody to use somebody that they don't like. We'll give you that choice, and we'll introduce you. And understand, all the property managers that we introduce you to out here, we use them all. Okay. This is Clausen. This one's actually one that we'd have to arrange. It's not in Midland itself. These are luxury condominiums, and as I said, I'd have to arrange to take you out and show you this one one-on-one. These are luxury condominiums, and this is something you won't see every day. These have built-in washer and dryers. They have vaulted ceilings, marble floors. They've got built-in trash compactors, built-in microwaves. I can get you one of those before any rebates, total purchase price, $20,000 for a luxury condominium. This is Trestles. Now, you'll hear me say Midland, and you'll notice that the sign says Odessa. And I want you to understand, Midland and Odessa are kind of like Minneapolis and St. Paul. They're sister cities. They sit right next to each other. So when I say Midland, I'm also referring to Odessa. Trestles is another beautiful complex. In fact, the Homeowners Association just went in a couple months ago and redid all the roofs. Dante purchased this entire complex. It's the nicest one in town. There's 1 and 2 bedrooms available there. It's got a beautiful swimming pool. In fact, when you go out, we always have a big party, right? We always have to throw a big barbecue. When you see this complex, it's a perfect place to take lunch. We invite you to bring your swimming trunks. It's got a jacuzzi. It's a great place, though. Neat thing about this, though, see those homes across the street there? The ones in the back? There's a brand new subdivision being built. Here's an example of just one of the homes that's in it. Those homes are starting out, right now, they're starting out at $250,000. That's right across the street from Trestles. Before rebates, I can get you a Trestles condominium, total purchase price, $18,500. Sitting right across the street from those homes. We can go ahead and turn the lights back on, please. That'll just give you a little idea of the kind of deals that our hot sheets offer. Ma'am, I'm running behind right now, so please write your question down. I'm going to be done here soon. I'm going to speed up a little bit. This guy was one of the gentlemen that got involved in our hot sheets. And he says, today's the first anniversary of closing escrow on the condo that we bought off your hot sheet in Sagewood in Midland, Texas. The deal turned out to be everything you said it would be. My only regret was that I only bought 1 unit. Mark Durnenball and Steve Tanaka took care of all the paperwork in a very efficient, professional manner, explained everything to us, and all we do now is take our rent check once a month, which yields a return of around 16% per year to the bank. It's the best real estate investment I've ever made. Keep my name on your list for future buys of this same type. Midland also, I want to point out, there's a lot of cities trying to do a lot of things to create jobs. For instance, Spokane, Washington created a buyer-seller network called Let's Do Business Together. Midland, though, ranks #1. For cities creating jobs right now, Midland is #1 of all the cities in this country. Companies like this, little companies, are moving in. Now, is that really a little company? No. Texas Instruments moved in there last year. Now, why do you think a Fortune 500 company of this caliber would pick Midland? What just got passed a couple months ago? That's right. Midland sits in the federal free trade zone. It also has an incredible transportation network. Midland's excellent transportation network, consisting of Interstate 20, 5 state highways, proximity to Interstates 10 and 27, the Missouri Pacific Railroad, and numerous freight lines, and Midland International Airport, provides a system that supports area businesses and industries centrally located through the nation's southwest. Midland is at the heart of a growing, prosperous region. But let me show you something. Even before Midland passed, or NAFTA passed, Let's go back in time. President Clinton took office when? January 21st, right? Here it is, February 19th, 1993. First thing that President Clinton did when he took office was he created a package that brought new federal money to Texas. And look at the two of the cities that were right there at the top of the list, Midland and Odessa. Now, he did this long before NAFTA passed. What does that tell you? Do you think he was worried about Ross Perot and everybody raising a stink about NAFTA? No, see, he never would have put this money down there if he didn't believe that NAFTA was going to pass. Midland also is ranked on one of the best places to reside. The reason why I say that, just look at the cost of living. When you compare it to Dallas and Houston, and I'm talking about the composite index, grocery items, housing, utilities, transportation, healthcare, miscellaneous goods and services, Midland beats them across the board. When the cost of living is low like that, aside from attracting businesses in, you're going to get a lot of these people in as well. See, if you're a retired person and a guy like me came up to you and said, do you realize if you sell your $500,000 house in Southern California here, Ron, I can get you a condo for $18,500. Would you have some extra spendable cash even?
Two?
You want two?
Yeah.
You got it.
I want to run out the other one.
I would do that. But see, I'll tell you something. There's a lot of people that started out just like yourself that now live down in areas that we've taken them to because of these reasons. Overall, the area's economy is skyrocketing. Last year alone, wholesale trade brought $87.5 million to the Midland economy, a 34.6% increase in 1 year. All these things have attributed to this. Population growth over the last 2 years of 30%. See, this is exactly what took place in Phoenix 2 years ago. How long did Dante tell you it was going to take to learn the real estate business?
6 months.
About 6 months? Did Tony Martinez yesterday tell you when the RTC was going to close?
6 months.
About 6 months. Do we have time to wait?
No.
Do you have time to wait?
Absolutely not.
Okay, let me ask you this. Who would take action today and just say, I will, if I could show you how to get that 6-month education in 5 days?
I will.
I'm sorry, let's try that again. Who wants it? I will. Come on, say I do. Get excited, folks. Well, there's one place where we do teach you that entire 6 months in 5 days so that you don't have to wait to start making money. There's one place where we eliminate all the risk. There's one place where we take you out and show you our highest proven success rate for beginning investors. There's one place, for those of you that would like to invest, that we actually hold you by the hand. It's called the Real Estate Buying Tour. Can we get the lights one more time? I want you to understand the tour eliminates all fear through understanding. The tour is the one place where if you're standing on that cliff and you're looking down and you really want to jump in the water, understand, we're in the water. You can't do a belly flop. Why? Because we've already invested our money there. So don't be afraid to go ahead and feel the exhilaration by jumping off into the sea of investing. I'll hold you by the hand. First thing we do is we have a little party for you. Now, our tours start on a Friday night. Party lasts for about 45 minutes. Now, I want to clarify the word party. At our parties, we do not allow alcohol. Okay? Thank you. Instead, we provide you with juice machines. We will juice carrots, we will juice fruits. You will not get drunk at one of our parties, but you will get juiced. Okay? Because I'll tell you something. There's no point in going out and make a lot of money if you got bad health, because you're just going to leave it to somebody else. So when I say party, understand, we're not going to be drinking there anything but juice. Then what we do is now that everyone has met everybody, we bring you into a classroom, and we have some very intense classroom instruction. It is not a big group like this. We keep the group small because it's 5 days of very intense training. We cannot train mass quantities. I can only take very small groups to ensure that, one, you get the highest level of education of what I'm talking about. And two, that if you do decide you want to invest while you're there, you'll have pick of the litter. Each morning what we do is we go out and we put you on a bus, and as you can see, we take you out in nice coaches, Groups are small. We'll take you out and we'll teach you. Now, also, when we take you out, we're showing you properties that are currently available. About half of them we own, about the other half are just listed or the banks own. You're not going to just see just hot sheets. The reason why we do that is if you're a person that wants to use leverage, you can do it with the banks. If you want to pay all cash, you can do it through our hot sheets. We take you out and we'll teach you how to physically inspect the properties both outside and inside. Plus, we're going to teach you what types of property you should even be looking for in your own area. We're not going to take you into the slummy neighborhoods. As you can see, the tenant quality is going to be the highest you'll find anywhere. I'm not going to waste your time in bad neighborhoods, nor am I comfortable being there. So we'll only go into the good neighborhoods. In fact, a lot of the people that used to buy that rent from us are former property owners, because you got to understand these people lost their jobs when the savings and loan crisis happened, and then they lost their homes. Why don't they buy them today? One, they just got their jobs back, and two, their credit is still very bad. So you can actually help these people. And I'll ask you this, where do you think I could teach you the best? You think I could teach you the real estate business sitting here in a classroom, or if I was just to take you out with me and say, hey guys, look at this. Let me show you something. See this? That's a cracked foundation. That's not good. Now, where can I explain that better? Here or out there? Out there. Now, can I point at asbestos paint or lead paint and asbestos and faulty wirings and hot spots and troubled areas sitting in here talking about buying real estate, or actually out doing it? Raise your hand if you think I could teach you better by just taking you out with me. Well, okay. We then at night, we go back on the bus, and at night we run all the numbers. We will teach you pity MERV so that you know it like the back of your own hand. We're going to show you how to use what's called the Real Estate Master Calculator, how you do this. We sit down with you. If you do decide to buy, we will go over all your purchase contracts with you. Understand, you will do nothing alone. That's the best way I know how to eliminate the fears, if I just sit down and show you. See, I'm a person that you could talk to me and I might hear it. You could show me and I'll definitely learn it. I learn by doing. Is there anybody else that's like that? Okay. We'll also introduce you to the lenders if you need financing, the local lenders. The neat thing is people all over this country that have gone on this tour from every walk of life has benefited from it. We have the highest success rate for beginning investors, even if you go down just to get the education, being able to go back in your own neighborhood and know exactly what you should be doing. What types of properties you should even be looking at. How to identify them. This little lady, for instance, she's 74 years old, lives in North Carolina. 74 years old, and she's out in Phoenix, Arizona at the time buying real estate with us. Now, is there anybody in this room that doesn't believe they can do it if this 74-year-old woman can do it? The point is sometimes we have to be like a bird and take that flight. But see, as I said, if you're willing to take that jump into the sea, then you get something that you've never had. Perhaps it might be just the simple things in life, like enjoying a beautiful vacation here 6 times a year. See, I go to Hawaii now. This is out of the hotel room that I stay in the same place ever since I met Dante. Same exact room. That's my view. And I go there with my wife about 6 times a year because I love it so much. Who goes on the tours? People just like you and I. We can turn the lights on. People just like you and I. This is Bob Barker, not the one from TV. He says, I highly recommend this program to any new or established investor because you really did put us out where the ducks are. See, Dante has a saying, if you're going to go duck hunting, go to a duck farm. You'll get bigger, better ducks. Where do you think you're going to stand a better chance getting a duck? Standing out in front of this hotel with your shotgun? Or going to a duck farm with your shotgun where the sky is filled? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When Bob went down, he also took his wife, Betty. And she wrote in and said, my husband and I bought a single-family dwelling for $18,000 in a great rental area, a super buy we would have never found without the tour. $18,000. If she leveraged in at 20% down on an $18,000 home, how much did she have to put down? $3,600 bucks. She leveraged in with 10% down. $1,800 total down payment. Now they own a home. Do you have a warm and fuzzy feeling at this point? No. Okay. But what if I came to you and I said, Anthony, I'm a brand new investor. I'm just getting started. I got this phenomenal deal down in Midland, Texas, one of the hottest markets of the country, and I outlined it all to you, and I show you how you can own property for less than $10,000. Which deal do you want to do with me first? The $10,000 deal or the $100,000 deal? That's right. You'll stand a lot better chance putting together folks that, if you're going to do the small deals, you're going to stand a better chance doing partnerships on smaller deals to get started. The hardest time to do a partnership is your very first time. Because if you go out and make somebody money, the next time you call them, you're not going to have to explain everything like you did the first time. But I would encourage you to start off a little bit smaller. Young people go on our tours. People who don't listen to those people saying, it's a scam, it'll never work. People like young David Sanger, whose parents said, no, don't do this, it's a scam. Let me share this letter with you. It says, Mr. Blake, I just got back from the Midland Odessa tour. Wow, my mind is still racing from the whole experience, and I still can't believe all the incredible deals that we saw. You were right about my family. They stopped saying, it's a scam, and started saying, it worked. When I got home, I had dinner with my parents, and I couldn't wait for them to ask how the trip went. My dad opened with, have you kissed your savings goodbye yet? I just smiled and handed him my escrow papers and the pictures I took while I was down there. The next thing Dad's talking about is how he can get involved. And if I could find something like this for him, too. We're already making plans to fly to Phoenix together on the next tour. I never thought he would listen to any of my ideas, but now I can't get him off the phone. From the bottom of my 18-year-old heart, thank you. You've given me better job training than any school could ever, and believe me, I'm making more money at a job that I love. His father called me after the Wealth Weekend when he signed up to go on a tour, and he did not have nice things to say to me. But I love this part of this letter because he says, P.S. my dad thinks you do. So don't tell me you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You guys want to be millionaires? Yes or no? Yes. You realize that 7 out of 10 millionaires made their money in this country by investing in real estate? They didn't do it any other way but investing in real estate. Let me show you something. You compare real estate to bonds, savings, common stock, and real estate wins every time. And I'll tell you something else about those 7 out of 10 millionaires. They didn't just do it in their own area. Their own area is too small. How many of you have an IRA, individual retirement account? Okay, only a couple of you, so I'm not going to get into this. One question, I'll put it to you this way. One question that I get asked a lot, can I use my IRA? The answer is yes. It has to be self-directed. If you want more information about getting a self-directed IRA, call Wes Simmons in our office, and he'll put you in contact with the people that can set that up for you. His name again is Wes. One time, a guy jumped up in the back of the room, and he said, CDs is where it's at. Okay, at this point, and to this date, I've never put a dime into CDs. But I didn't argue with this man because I can't talk about things I know nothing about. Instead, I called my financial planner, who's with Merrill Lynch in Santa Barbara. His name is Jared Burford. And I said, Jared, a guy questioned me about CDs the other day. What can you give me on it? This is what he sent. This is what he calls the history of the real return of a CD. It's a survey from 1970 to 1992. Yes, 6-month CD rates, those interest rates are staggeringly high. You got 11%, 12%, 15%. But let me show you something. When you have to remember you're going to have to pay some taxes. And you've got to remember inflation. And the bottom line, over a 22-year period, the real return of a CD has been negative every single year except for President Reagan's false economy years, and then it got back to going to the negative. Now, I'm not making fun of President Reagan, okay? I'm just saying, if you look, there was only a return of 1%, 0.75. The only time you got any money back when you considered taxes and inflation was from 1983 down to about 1989. And then the party was over for CDs. Then there's always this option. We could leave our money in the bank. And 2 to 3% is actually pretty conservative. Do you realize at 2 to 3%, when you take in consideration with inflation and taxes, I'm surprised that these banks do not send us a bill to hold us our money. You know what I'm saying? Because you ended up losing a couple percent. Why are they not contacting saying, hey, I want my money? Let's say you're a person that's sitting here right now that's got 10 grand sitting in the bank. Now, after you pay your taxes and after your insurance, $10,000 in the bank right now at the current rates, this is what you're going to get. Let's say you get 3%. There's 100, 200, 300 bucks. What it really means is in 1 year, if you leave that 10 grand sitting in the bank at 3%, after you pay some taxes, after you consider some insurance or inflation, you might end up with this. Will this buy those dreams that you wrote down for yourself? Will this buy those goals? Hey, I'll tell you something. If this buys the goals of what you want, you're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong place right now. If you would like to take something like this and maybe times it by 100, would that start buying your dreams? Will it?
Yes.
You got to stop this. And I'll tell you something. The sad thing about this right here, that's my mom and dad. That is my mom and dad right there. I have talked until I am blue in the face with these people, and I love them dearly. And one thing I'm very thankful for is that no matter what, I know that I'll always be able to take care of my parents. But that is where I learned a man convinced against his will. Because my dad is a very old-fashioned guy. This old plan does not work. Right now, it is so important that you use the equity, invest bonds, stocks, whatever you got, and get yourself going. If you go out on one of our tours, this is a little bit more of what you can expect. You can start getting interest on your money, tax benefits. I'll tell you something else about what's going on in Texas. Mark my words. It will be written down in the history books. What is going on down there is going to go down in the history books as one of the greatest redistributions of wealth in modern times. Go back to the Great Depression. Was there a lot of millionaires that lost money then? A lot of people lost money. Is there an opposite and equal reaction? So, if there's a lot of people losing money, wasn't there a lot of people making money? Proven fact, to date, the Great Depression created more millionaires than any other time in the history. It's happening right now. We can all say we're in a recession. We can all say it's just that. It's not. That's why it's so important. It's like my brother. I have a younger brother. He came to me and he said, Reese, I've been watching you. You got this fancy house. You got all these cars. I want it too. I said, well, you got to get education first. Learn how to create the capital. I said, basically, that's what you do. Get on one of these tours. I said, I know no faster way. I don't want to do that. I said, wait a minute, you came to me. Now understand, I can only tell you what I know. Do you want to be a millionaire, Len? Yes or no? Yes. This is what you do. I don't want to do that. So I'll put it to you guys this way. You guys want to be millionaires, right? All right, there it is. $1 million. There for the taking. This is America. To get it, though, you got to do this. See, the person who says, well, I don't want to do this, well, guess what? You're not going to get this either. If you want something you've never had, you're going to have to start doing things you've never done. If you want something you currently don't have, then do something you've never done. Mike Leslie, young kid from San Francisco. This guy had faith and belief. Dante told me that he showed you this letter, but he didn't explain the whole story, so I'm going to be finishing up here in just a second. Mike, to show you a guy that had belief, met us on the 16th, joined on the 19th, came over to our office, got signed up for a tour. Then, on the 24th, 8 days after he met us, was on a tour. To refresh you, this is the guy who said, I'm still unemployed, ha ha. But it was because in that 1 week that he spent with us from May 22nd is how he bought a 10-plex, a 14-plex, a 20-unit suite, 64 condos. As he said, I'm having so much fun, I decided to stay a week longer. But here's the part I really like about what Mike says. He says, I don't know you, but I like what you stand for. Determination, confidence, success. That's what we're all here for, right? Hey, did Mike recognize value? Yep. Did he jump on the deal? Yep. Do you think he works today? No, because he got to go to step 3, close and cash out. This lady, I know you've seen this one too. Dante told me. This lady said it was almost better than sex. Well, let's understand why she said that. She bought 15 fourplexes with a 40% cash-on-cash return. I want you to understand, though, she did it on the tour. It's the fastest and best way that I know how to do it. Now, with our company, you're going to hear a lot of different strategies. I will tell you right now, Dante's programs, Damien's programs, all work if you do. The easiest and fastest way, bar none, that has the highest proven success rate in this corporation is the real estate buying tour. If you're a person that wants to work hard, great. But if you're a person that would like to kick it on the beach, drink pina coladas, and not work for, say, 6 months out of the year, I would encourage you at this point to spend 5 days out in the field. Let me show you what you need so that you can have that lifestyle. Because that's what we all want, right? Our own fabulous lifestyle. See the real estate buying tour as a couple things. One, see it as an opportunity to take action. If you have money right now and you'd like to invest it and you'd like to eliminate the fears and possibly the mistakes, see it as the avenue where we'll hold you by the hand. If you don't have money to invest right now, then see the tour as the highest level of education that we offer. The best real estate education you'll receive anywhere. Can anybody in this room name one other corporation that's doing anything like this? You know why there's no other corporation doing it? Because we're the only corporation that practices what we preach, bar none. How many other companies can you go buy real estate from? That's one. But does he have an inventory of 3,500 properties? There is nobody else out there. They'll all sit and talk in theory. We don't. That's why I follow Dante Perano. Because the man stands up and does what he says. I got respect for people like that. If you decide to go with us, this is what you're going to receive. What we're going to take care of, we will pay for all your hotel accommodations for 5 nights. As I said, it starts on a Friday. You end Tuesday night. We will pay Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday night's lodging. We'll also take care of all your breakfasts, which is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday and Tuesday. We'll take care of all your lunches, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. All your ground transportation. You do not need to rent a car. You will not have time to drive it. Why? Because I'm going to keep you busy from about 7 in the morning till about 11 at night. So if you know people in Midland and Odessa and you'd like to see them, plan on doing it after Wednesday. You will not have time. I can't teach you unless you're dedicated, unless you're willing to make those changes. Now what you're going to get when you get down there, you're going to get a couple things today for those of you that decide to go. When you go to the back, you're going to get one of these boxes. What you will not find in this box is our manual. And the reason why is some of you are going to buy real estate. Right now we're spending hundreds of man hours locating deals for you. We do this right up till the moment of the tour. You will receive this when you get down there. It will have all the property prospectus, all the contracts, all the forms. This is all that you're going to need, so you don't need to bring anything with you. We'll have this available when you get there. You're also, though, today, in your box, when you go back there, you're going to get this book. And I do want you to try to at least review it. This book is called Terms That Earn. It was written by Dante, and all it is a small dictionary. There are certain words that some of you perhaps have never heard in real estate. This will help familiarize yourself. Now, while you're on our tour, we have a very old saying. There is no stupid questions, only the questions that don't get asked. We can eliminate a lot of questions, though, if you will just take a little time. Don't try to memorize it. Just review it. I'm going to give you this today. Because understand, you're going to be hanging out with a lot of professionals. Who's there? Tony Martinez, Craig Meyer. Your primary instructor is a guy by the name of Ted Thomas. Ted Thomas, before the savings and loan crisis, was worth $180 million. Owned a 26-story building right in Phoenix. This guy is the most powerful negotiator I know in this country. He's better than even Dante. He is your instructor. He's the best. You're also going to get property management made easier. And I'm going to give you this today. And the reason why, there's a lot of things that you need to know about property managers. What kinds of questions ask them, how to qualify them. This book will show you exactly how to pick out a good property manager. You're also going to get the Real Estate Master Calculator. Later on today, you're going to learn how to use this. That gentleman standing right over there, Eric, is going to come up and show you in about 10 minutes how to use this. The company that makes this is Calculated Industries. They guarantee it's the easiest one to use. If you like using a Hewitt-Packard or one of those fancy ones, maybe we'll have some time, we'll run a little competition, because I guarantee you this will beat the Hewitt-Packard 9 times out of 10. It's that simple. If a guy like me can use it, anybody can use it. And Eric's going to get up and show you how to use that later, and I'm going to give everybody one of those that goes. Something that we just recently added is this. And this is put together by Craig Meyer. Craig Meyer, who's going to be up after lunch today, he's actually been an associate for about 7 years. He's been with the company now in-house for about a year. The thing that impressed me the most out of Craig Meyer is this right here. Craig, this is a business plan. Remember, good plans don't fail? I'm now using this. This is mine, Reb Hex Enterprises. I use it personally. This is the most powerful real estate business plan I've seen to date. Because the one area that Craig recognized that people were having trouble with was once they owned the property, what do you do with it? He has a 12-week success plan, and before I came up today, Craig, who's on the tour the whole time, and as I said, he's got to get down there right now, today, he's agreed to put together with anyone who goes down there your personal business plan. It will have your name. You'll be getting that from Craig personally.
How many people can go on the tour?
Well, there's about 42 total. There's 48 seats.
Now my question.
Okay?
I'm going in 2 weeks to Reno
Okay.
with a partner.
Okay.
Can I go then to the buying tour?
I'll get to that in 1 second. You know what? Give me just a couple minutes. I'm almost done, and I'm going to cover everything you just asked me. So please bear with me. Okay. You're also going to get, which I don't have up here right now, a complete demographic report, which is in your box on Midland. You'll also get a video on Midland, which their Chamber of Commerce put out. I want you to look at both of these so that you familiarize yourself all about the great things that are going on in Midland and Odessa. Now, your expense is going to be this. You will pay for your air transportation to and from the tour location, unless you decide to drive. Many people from Southern California have driven. You'll also take care of your dinners on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Tuesday night, when the school's all over, we have a big graduation celebration dinner before we send you back home. In addition to all that, what you're going to receive is basically 50 to 60 hours of expert training in the field, not just sitting in a classroom. You're going to learn how to locate and identify the type properties you should be looking for in any and all areas. You're going to learn how to physically inspect properties quickly and efficiently. You'll be handheld through the analyzing of the numbers of PITIMERV. You'll receive individual assistance with all contracts and offers. Now, recently we added a special addition to the education, and this is where Ted Thomas comes into play. What we're doing now is we're dedicating one class to teaching you how to professionally package your deals. First, Craig Meyer is going to show you how to package them up. Then, through role-playing, breaking into small groups of 2 and 3 people, Ted has you role-play out. And basically what it is one time, I'm the guy with the deal. And my job is to present it to you, the investor, so that you get excited and put up the money. That's where we teach you to borrow the money, split the deal, and sell the contract. That is, right now, where it's taking our success rate right through the roof, particularly for those people that are just getting started. Because this is an area where we saw people needed the most help. While you're there, you're going to view approximately 100 to 200 properties. All of them are available for purchase. So if you do want to put an offer in, just let us know. We're going to introduce you to our valuable local contacts, such as local property managers with a good service reputation, top area brokers that you can use for resale and future deals, investors that you can form partnerships, big or small, and a complete tour of Midland and Odessa to familiarize yourself with these 2 hot markets. For everyone who signs up today, I'm going to give you an added bonus we usually don't do. You're going to get in your box this certificate. It's very important that you bring this certificate. Why? It's going to get you this camera right here. And why we give you this, when I show you 100 to 200 properties, you're going to have trouble keeping track of them. The nice thing that I like about this particular type camera is, one, it doesn't work. Two, when it does work, it puts out a little picture that at the very bottom, when you're looking at, say, a house on Elm Street, you can write 1214 Elm right on the bottom. Put it in your binder with your prospectus so that at night, when we're in the classroom, you're not sitting there saying, was that the blue house or the yellow house? You'll be looking at exactly that house. So if you're a person that does want to put an offer in on that, you won't make any mistakes by offering on the wrong property. You know, can we get the lights one more time? I'm going to close. I've got a 2-minute video here that I want to finish up by just showing you, because it really summarizes everything that I've been trying to show you. And as I said, it's only about 2 minutes long. Now, for those of you in the back, I will read what it's saying. We need these lights over here, please. I need the screen blacked out. That'll work for me. I'll read what it says for those of you in the back. It says, First Hybrid presents Dante Perano's Real Estate Buying Tour. First Hybrid locates 100 to 200 properties for you to view. Second, First Hybrid is going to provide a bus for the associates to view the properties. Third, First Hybrid then shows you how to inspect the real estate, both inside and out. Fourth, First Hybrid then helps you by analyzing all your numbers. Fifth, First Hybrid then assists you in writing your offers. And sixth, First Hybrid then introduces you to the lenders for financing. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, that's what it looks like when you're successful at buying real estate. I don't think I have to tell anybody in this room what that feels like. But now I'm going to share a little bit about my life. Because I did that, I now have my own fabulous lifestyle. Let me share a little with you. That's Tara, the flying Frisbee canine, the world-class Frisbee dog. You'll never see anybody else do that trick but us. We invented it. Oh, by the way, guys, when you have a little extra cash, you get to buy the toys you've always wanted. It took me 15 years to get that car, but I finally got it last year. The real question is this, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to sit and watch other people's fabulous lifestyles or put yourself in the sunset? Well,
You're going to answer the question that I asked you.
right now, sir. You guys want your own fabulous lifestyle? Say yes. Yes. All right, write these 2 dates down because these are the last 2 schools we've got this year. These are the only ones scheduled. The first one is going to be in July. That is on the 8th through the 14th. The final school that we have scheduled is going to be in August. That'll be August 5th through the 9th. There's good news and there's bad news. I can't take everybody. That's the bad news. I was able to save some seats, though. Our July tour, I still have 9 seats available. The August tour, as you saw, there's only so many seats. I'm on the bus. The insurance will not let us hold any more. You can't ride standing up. That's why we have to limit it. August tour, I still have 14 spots available. So if you'd like to make those changes in your life, definitely get on one of these 2 tours. What's the tuition? I know that's the next question, so we'll go over that right now. The first time that you go on one of our tours, it is an investment of $34.95. If you'd like to bring your spouse or partner, they can come for half price. Now, I want to point out that our tuition is a refundable deposit. If you do decide to buy real estate, we will rebate it right off the purchase of your first property, and I'll explain that one second. If you're somebody who's sitting here that's been an associate with us a long time, because some of you have been with us for a few years and you've already been on tours, you can go on your second tour at half price. The interesting thing is this: 80% of those that go on one tour go on a second tour. Two reasons. First, the power of buying in bulk. Remember what I talked about, 25 people putting offers in at one time? It exists. Second, not everybody purchases properties on their first tour. Now, when you go back today, you're going to get a certificate, not for $34.95, but for actually $4,000. Here's what it looks like. When you get down there and you decide that you'd like to purchase one of our hot sheet properties, or perhaps one of the private reserve properties, the person you're going to want to give this to is Craig Meyer. Let Craig know that you would like to get a rebate for $4,000. Let's say you're looking at a condo, for instance, that's $13,000, for instance. If you use this, the price drops to $9,000. So you get your, as you can see, it's a refundable deposit. If you're a person sitting in this room right now, and you don't have to sit and think about this because you want to be like Bob and Betty. You want to be like all the people that have made that choice, like Mike, who recognize value. You know how many spots I have? And I see 10 people already back there. I'd suggest you go right now. Go ahead. Don't go. If you want to get signed up, this is the time. If you're still sitting here, I'm going to finish with you by saying this. If you want the best, go on back. You got to sit and think about it, folks. You sit and think about this. Good things may come to those who wait, but only what's been left by those that are hustling right now. Abraham Lincoln said that, not me. I want to say thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you all. I've enjoyed being here.
Hey, how's everybody doing? All right. I want to congratulate every one of you that got involved with Reese today. The real estate buying tour is indeed an excellent opportunity. And I want to congratulate those of you that took action. What my job to do in this weekend is to work with those of you that have limited capital that want to get started working right here in your own local area. Now let me ask you this question. How many people would like to do their first real estate deal in the next 30 to 60 days right here in Los Angeles and make a minimum of $5,000 to $10,000? Raise your hands. All right, I'm in the right room. Better get my jacket off for this one. How many of you are going to want to do your first real estate deal using other people's money? Let me see you raise your hands. All right, let's do a little exercise here. We all just had lunch. So before we get down to business, I want everybody to stand up just for a second. Come on. Everybody stand up. I want you to turn to the person next to you and say, hello, can I borrow $100,000? All right, who got the money? Who got the money? Raise your hands. All right, a few people already did it. You see, my job's done now. Taught you how to get the money. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my background and how I got started. You see, I've been very fortunate the past several years. My life wasn't always as it is today. Reese alluded to it a little bit, but I want to tell you a little bit about my background. 5.5, well, almost 6 years ago now, I was flat broke. I was a practicing alcoholic who drank consistently on a daily basis. I had been evicted from my home. My car had been repossessed. I did not have a job. And I was about $40,000 in debt. pretty meager existence. And I was at the point in my life, folks, where I did not care whether I lived or died anymore. I didn't care. And my brother was the only person that allowed me a place to stay. I mean, I lived in his garage. I wasn't a pretty picture. But what happened to me? You know, what changed in my life? Well, the first thing was I had to give up the alcohol. And that was a struggle for me. And it was something that I knew how to do really well. And it was tough for me to take that first step. But what I learned from that was in order for me to be successful at anything, I needed to rely on the support of other people that knew where I was at, that knew what I was up against, that knew what I was doing. And it's been one of the most valuable experiences of my life. And I've taken that philosophy and that strategy and I've built it into other things that I do in my life. I've built it into what I consider to be my financial security, my financial freedom. And I've found people that are successful that have become my support system. You see, 5.5, or I'm going to say 6 years now because I've been saying 5.5 for about 6 months. So it's got to be 6 years now. 6 years ago, I picked up a newspaper. I walked out my brother's garage, walked down the driveway, and I picked up a newspaper. And in that newspaper, there was an advertisement. And that advertisement was about a real estate seminar. I have no formal education, and I had no real estate background. And I thought, what do I have to lose? I've heard other people get rich in real estate, and I wanted everything, folks. I wanted it all. But I didn't know how to go out and get it. So I thought I'd go to this real estate seminar. And I lived in Walnut Creek, California. Anybody know where Walnut Creek is up in Northern California? And I got on the BART train because I didn't have a car. And I took the BART train from Walnut Creek into Oakland. And I ended up at the Hyatt Regency. And I was scared. You know, I was scared because I thought all of you people that were there knew more than I knew. And everybody there was successful but me. And I sat there, though, and I was excited. And I came as close as I could to the front of that room. And I sat there, and this man came out, and he got up on the stage, and he was going back and forth, and he was going, folks, you get involved with this program, and you start working with me on my real estate strategies, and you, too, can achieve a level of financial success in your life. All you have to do is take action. And he talked to me about these strategies. And I felt like that man was talking directly to me that day. I didn't remember that there was anybody else in that room. I thought he was talking directly to me. And I walked out of that room that day, folks, and I felt like I was 6 feet off the ground. Anybody know who that man was? Dante Perano. Dante Perano, man, that man has been the inspiration in my life that has helped me achieve the goals that I set for myself. Not only help me achieve them, but blow right past them. And I'm living proof, folks, that this stuff works. I had one problem when I left that seminar that day. I got back on the BART train, and I was so excited, you know, and I'm riding the BART train home, and my mind's going 100 miles an hour. Anybody else feel that way? My mind is going 100 miles an hour, and I'm on the BART train, and all of a sudden, see, I didn't get involved that day because I didn't have the $1,000. And I'm trying to think, and I'm going, how am I going to come up? I've got to do this. How am I going to come up with this money? So I started thinking, and I was going, well, I could always call my buddy Mark. I thought about it for another couple minutes, and I thought, well, no, I haven't called Mark in about 3 months. Last time I saw him, I borrowed $100. You know, I had burned most of my bridges. So I was thinking, and I went through one person after the other. And it came down to the last person in the world that still believed in Craig Meyer. Anybody know who that might be? My dad was my mom. That was close. It was my mom, you know, and I called her up on the phone that day, and I was all excited, and I said, hi, Mom, this is Craig. I went to this seminar today, and I met this guy in this real estate. She says, oh, God, Craig, how much is it? I said, I only need $1,000, Mom. She said, $1,000? I said, yeah, that's all I need. I just need $1,000. And if I can get involved with this man and his organization, I know that I can go out and be successful. And I had some conviction in my voice that day because I believed it. I knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that if I could become involved with this man and his organization, that I could achieve a level of success in my life that I desired. And it was true for me. My mom let me put the $1,000 on her credit card. And in the last 6 years, all my dreams have come true. There's not one thing that I had on my dream list or one of my goals that I have not been able to achieve. Today, I no longer live in a garage. I live up in Reno, Nevada. I live on the 5th hole of a golf course, not too far from Dante. I live the lifestyle that I choose to live, you know, and it just keeps getting better. But one of the things that I realized, and that I'm going to talk to you about today, is the strategy that you're going to work with. Because you've heard a lot of different strategies this weekend. You've seen opportunities in land. You've seen the real estate buying tour. And they're all excellent opportunities to pursue. What I'm here to do is to show those of you that have limited capital what I believe to be the most powerful strategy that you're going to use in your investment toolbox. And that's starting out in your own local area to build your financial foundation and also to get that first deal under your belt. Because what our goal with those of you that come work with me, that join my team, what our goal is going to be is to get 1 to 2 deals done in the next 90 days and make a minimum of $5,000 to $10,000. See, $5,000 to $10,000 is not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money in a real estate deal, but it's more important for you to get that first deal under your belt than it is to do anything else. It's more important to get that first deal down than it is to do anything else. And in order to do that, you need to have the knowledge. You need to have the knowledge to get that first deal done. When I first started out, I was trying this strategy, I was trying this strategy, I was trying this strategy, and I didn't have any focus. So what I'm going to do is show you a strategy today that if you choose, you can focus on, and your success level is going to depend on the action that you take. Because knowledge is the key. The attainment of wealth has nothing to do with luck. I want you to indelibly print that in your mind. Knowledge is the key. The attainment of wealth has nothing to do with luck. Doesn't matter what kind of lifestyle you want to live. You want to drive the fancy cars? You want to fly in the jets? You want a vacation in Bermuda, Hawaii, the south of France? Or maybe what your dreams are to tithe at your church. Maybe the material things aren't important to you. You know, maybe what's important to you is to help your family out. Maybe what's important to you is to help your friends out. Or maybe you want the material things that money can buy.
All of the above.
All of the above. The gentleman says all of the above. Using the strategies that I'm going to share with you here today, you're going to be able to attain these things in your life. What we're going to talk about today is foreclosures. Foreclosures in Los Angeles County and Southern California are blowing off the map. We travel all over the country. This is my first time to Los Angeles this year. Before I come into a city, I do a little bit of research on what's going on in the area. Property values have declined dramatically, and foreclosures. Does anybody work foreclosures in Los Angeles? Okay, can you tell me approximately how many foreclosures a month there are?
Literally, I may be off, I may be low, but I'd say probably 30,000 a month, and
Well,
that may be much, much higher.
Well, 30,000 a month is what Elwood said. My number's not quite that high. That's a pretty good number, though. Anybody else got an idea? Anybody else into foreclosures? What do you got? About 5,000 a month, about 10,000 a month. There are thousands of foreclosures a month in Los Angeles area. Okay, literally. Now, what I'm going to do is show you several different strategies about how you can find those foreclosures, about how you can realize a profit on those foreclosures. One strategy that we're going to talk about is making money while helping out others. You see, in my life, it's important for me to make a lot of money, but I also want to feel good about what I'm doing. So what I've done is I've learned a strategy that I can help people out that are in foreclosure, and I can also make a lot of money at it. Does that sound good? What'd you say? Yes. Good. How to manufacture big profits. Okay, I say that sometimes and people well, that doesn't quite sound legal, Craig. Well, what I'm going to talk to you about is, see, the market that you're in here in Southern California is a little bit different than other markets in the country. You may not have hit bottom yet, but a lot of property values have plummeted, haven't they? So is it conceivable that it's possible that the property values have gone below the loan amount or what's owed on the property? You've all heard about that, haven't you? Well, what I'm going to do is show you how to work with the lenders and negotiate equity in these properties. Number 3 is packaging a winning investment proposal. One of the things that I found out early on, I had no money. If I was going to work with other people's money, I had to be professional. People with money want to avoid what? Risk. That's right. And so I want to address all the risks up front, and so I put together a winning investment proposal, and I'm going to share that with you today as well. Now, this is one that I put together. It's simple partnerships where you get $3,000 plus 50% of the profits. Does that make sense? I'll tell you where that came from. I started out, I'd knocked down my first deal, and I did it doing a partnership because I had no money. Well, the property that we bought was giving us about $125 a month positive cash flow. Now, if I've got a partner and we're bringing in $125 a month, how much of that is mine? $62.50. Half. That's the way our partnership was set up. Now, what can I do each month with $62.50? Not a whole lot. I mean, I'm doing a direct mail campaign, sending out to people in foreclosure. And so, I have some expenses that need to be met. So I was putting together such good deals using the strategies that I'm going to share with you here in a minute. I was putting together such good deals that I decided that I was going to start charging an acquisition fee to my partnerships. So what I did was when we formed the partnership, I would always build in a $3,000 acquisition fee, plus I would own 50% of the property. Does that make sense? Imagine if you were doing 1 or 2 of those a month. You get $3,000 for each one that you do. And it's simple if you know how to do it. And then we're going to share a strategy here today where you can earn $5,000 in the next 30 to 60 days working right here in the Los Angeles area. Now, as I go through this today, I'm going to share with you the high points. I'm going to share with you some of the best strategies that I know for 1994, some of the cutting-edge strategies. Some of you are going to make a decision that, yes, this is the type of strategy that you want to pursue. This is what you want to focus on, is going to be working in pre-foreclosures. And for those of you that decide to do that, we have an extended training course that I'll let you know about at the end of the day. What I've done is I put together what I call a 12-week success plan, where what we're going to do is, so I want you to keep this in mind as we're going, because what we're going to do, it's a pilot program. And I take anybody that wants to participate with me on the 12-week follow-up. I'm putting together a pilot program, and we're going to walk you through it week by week. And what the goal is to get you into and through your first deal, making a minimum of $5,000. Okay, so keep that in mind as we go today. Now, has anybody asked for a raise lately? How many of you had jobs? Anybody asked for a raise? Somebody asked for a raise back there. Did you get it? Nope. See, one thing I don't have to worry about anymore, and you won't either, is asking your boss for a raise. This is an article that I took out of the paper a couple of weeks ago. Getting a raise in the 90s is often an exercise in frustration. Is that true? Look at what this guy has to say. This is why I pulled this out. Asking for a raise is like asking to be fired, he says. But I'm afraid to quit. I figure a job paying nothing is better than no job at all. Is that a sad state of affairs? A job paying nothing is better than no job at all. Why are there so many foreclosures? Anybody tell me? Loss of jobs, economy. Look at this. USA Today. Layoffs are massive. On an average business day, 2,200 people are laid off. 2,200. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see this? See that a little better? IBM ekes out first profit in 2 years. Do you know why? They laid off a lot of people, that's right.
1,000 they laid off.
Right here. It said it's on track to trim an additional 30,000 jobs. That's right, sir. Last year, the workforce reduction amounted to 45,000, leaving a computer maker with a staff of 256,000. 75,000 jobs in a one-year period of time. 75,000 jobs. How secure is your job? What do all those people do at IBM that lost their jobs? Can they make their mortgage payments? A lot of them probably can't. What if they're a one-job family? I mean, that hits a lot of families. How many people know how the foreclosure process works here in California? Just a few of you? Let me go over it real quick. In California, the foreclosure process, and I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the process so you understand the steps that we're going through as I give you some examples. When you buy a house and you get a mortgage on that house, the mortgage is much like a pink slip on a car if you get your car financed at the bank. Now, if I have a mortgage on my house for, say, $100,000 with Bank of America, and I stop making those payments to Bank of America, what's Bank of America going to do? Repo. They're going to start the foreclosure process, aren't they? Well, in California, the foreclosure process goes something like this. When you fail to make your payments, the bank is going to file what's called a notice of default. You might want to write this down. It's called a notice of default or an NOD. You'll see this terminology sometimes. It'll say NOD. Now, the default period in California runs about 90 days. Okay? And that's what's called the pre-foreclosure period. Now, during those 90 days, if I'm defaulted on my mortgage, I can reinstate that loan. I can make up my payments and I can bring it current. You follow me? Now, if I fail to do that, the bank is going to publish in a local newspaper what's called the trustee sale. Okay? Now, all of this information so far is public information. When they file that notice of default, it's filed at the county recorder's office. When it's filed at the county recorder's office, who has access to that information? Everybody in this room does. Would it be good information to have if there's 5,000 or 10,000 a month? And that's what you've decided to do? Sure it would. Now, after the 90 days, they're going to file the trustee sale. It's a 21-day period before what? Before the auction of the property, before the sale. And that's a public auction where the property's held for sale. Now, if the property doesn't get purchased, let's say it has a $100,000 loan on it and the property's only worth $100,000, is anybody here going to go bid on it? If that's what the opening bid is? No. So what's going to happen to that property? It goes in REO. It reverts back to the lender and becomes what's called an REO. Okay, so the three steps are, first of all, the notice of default in the pre-foreclosure period. Second one would be the trustee sale, which a lot of you have heard about, the foreclosure sales. Then the third one would be an REO, or the, revert back to the lender, real estate owned. Now, if you're out there working these strategies, folks, which one would be the most powerful strategy to work? The pre-foreclosure, that's right. You see, several years ago, the strategy that I used to use was I'd go to the sale. But if you go to a foreclosure sale, what do you have to have? Money, cash. If you go to a foreclosure sale, you've got to have cash or certified funds, and you have to qualify in order to bid on that property. And you have to have enough for the entire amount that you want to bid. Do you know that? So wouldn't it make more sense if you could contact the owner in the pre-foreclosure stage and maybe cut a deal with them? Maybe cut a deal with them where all you had to do was bring the payments current, maybe give them a couple $1,000 bucks. Wouldn't that make more sense? So that's... We're going to get into that and show you how to turn these things, if they are upside down, how to make them so they're not. You know what I'd like you to do? I know Risa mentioned it. I'm going to be taking off this afternoon. And so I've got about 2 hours that I'm going to go through all the foreclosure information that you need to be successful here in Los Angeles. So what I'd like you to do is to write down your questions. And then when I'm done here today, I'll go ahead and answer the questions, as many as I can, before I get out of here. Because I know that I always generate a lot of questions as I get going here. Now, if you want to find these foreclosure properties, what's the best way to do it? You've got to find the name of the owner, right? What's the best way to do that?
I can give you a great way to do it.
How's that?
One, subscribe to the Daily Commerce.
Subscribe to the Daily Commerce.
Now you've got it right in your hand.
Got it right here in my hand.
And there's another way that's even better.
All right, let's go through the...
Directly through Redlock.
Great, that's a great idea. He said the other one is to go directly through the computer. A little more expensive, but it's a good way to go.
With Redlock, you can do it by geographical region, and you can limit it, or you can cover whatever geographical area you like.
That's great, Elwood. He said you can cover...
I don't know if you know it.
Hang on 1 second there, Elwood. Elwood's getting a little excited with the information he's got over there. We really appreciate it. Let me reiterate what Elwood's saying. He said you can subscribe to another company called Redlock. And Redlock, if you have a computer, is a computerized service. And Redlock's phone number is also inside this Daily Commerce. Now, the computerized service is quite a bit more expensive than the subscription. Now, the subscription on this for new subscribers is $182 for a year.
That's with the sales tax.
Right. Well,
75 tax.
okay. Boy, this Elwood's done his homework, hasn't he?
Oh, I want to tell you something about that where they...
Hang on, Elwood. You know what we're going to do? You know what we're going to do, Elwood? We're going to go ahead and go through this presentation, but I know you've got some valuable information. And when we're done here today, what I'd like you to do is to come back and give me that information. Let's go ahead and make sure everybody understands it.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate your help. In this publication, you're going to have notices of default. You're going to have notices of trustee sale. Let me get out here and show you this a little bit. Notices of trustee sale, and you're also going to have a list of the REOs. Costs $182 a year for this publication.
Where do you get it?
You get it from the Daily Commerce. There's a copy right there. Now, the reason it's valuable to have that, I'm going to give you an overhead right now and show you the information that contains. On this Friday, the copy that I just had in my hand there, on Friday, in the Daily Commerce, there was 182 notices of default recorded. 182. I haven't seen anything like that. That's one day. That newspaper's published 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. You got to know what to do with the information once you get it, but that's where the information is. Now you've got a list of all these names. You've got a list of all these people, and you've got a list of all these properties that are in foreclosure. What do you do next? Contact them. Telephone, that's a good one. How about if you started out sending them a letter? You set yourself up a little direct mail campaign, if you will. And you decide, okay, I'm going to start mailing out to these people. You pick an area that you want to work. Because remember, we're talking about working in your own local area right now. You pick an area where you live, say. Say Chuck lives in Beverly Hills. Foreclosures are everywhere, folks. And you say, okay, this is where I live. I'm going to pick this 10 square mile area around my house. Now, if you're getting started, that's a good way to go because you understand and you know your own local area. If you're working with investors, isn't it going to be easier for you to drive over to that property and show it to your investor instead of getting on a plane? So one of the things that you're going to want to do is contact those homeowners. You might write them a letter, something like this. Dear homeowner, are you ready for a new beginning? Are you drowning in a sea of debt and about to lose all the equity in your home? We can't offer you a miracle, but can suggest a workable solution to your problem. I don't know what your letter is going to say, but you're going to need to start out with something. Now, there's a guy that I work with who is real aggressive. One of the fellows that's on my team working foreclosures, and he got real excited about his letterhead because you're in business once you start to do this. Whether you're going to work at it at 2 hours a week or 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week, this is a business, folks, and you're going to want to treat it as such. So he puts his letterhead together, and he named his company Foreclosure Exterminators. Now, I don't know about you. I had to let him down a little slow here. I don't know about you, but my picture of the foreclosure exterminator is like a shark coming off the page, you know. And if somebody's in foreclosure, do you think that maybe it's not the best time of their life? Yeah. You know, do you think that maybe something like Foreclosure Solutions Incorporated or something like that might be a little softer, a little nicer? So when you're doing this and you're getting in this, I'd like you to keep in your mind the type of person that you're dealing with and have some compassion if you want to be successful.
Sir, may I tell the people what geographical regions this cover?
This geographical regions this covers is Los Angeles County, Orange County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County. You got any more, Elwood? And Ventura County. And let's give Elwood a big hand, huh? All right.
People here, I know there are people here from San Diego,
We're going to get to that at the end of today, Elwood. Is that all right with you? Yeah.
Diego County?
San Diego County's covered all the, also, for those of you that want to get San Diego County, there's another publication.
That's correct.
Appreciate the...
Published by the same people.
all right, Elwood. Now, when these people call, what are you going to do? You're sending out your letter. What's going to happen when they call? You're going to ask them some questions. What kind of questions would you want to ask them? Name, property address, what condition the property's in. How about how many loans they have on the property? Is it conceivable that they may have more than that loan that's in foreclosure? Yes. Sure it is. There might be a first, a second, a third. There might be there might be some liens on that property. Maybe the guy had some work done to his house and had a new roof put on it and didn't pay his roofer. The roofer filed a mechanic's lien. So you're going to want to ask him questions. Just because you're asking those questions, does that guarantee that he's giving you correct information? No, it doesn't. But first thing we have to do when that person calls up is ask the name of the owner, the property address, get their phone number right off the bat. And this is a copy of the little questionnaire that I use. You just want to have real basic information. I recommend that you have a binder sitting next to your phone at all times that has copies of your questionnaire in it, because it's going to make it a lot simpler for you when those people call in. You never know when you're going to get a call. Now, if you've got a... If you're sending out, let's say you decided, yes, Craig, this is the strategy that I'm going to use, and I'm going to send out 50 letters a week to people in default. Let's say in the second week, you come home from work and you've got 4 messages on your machine. What are you going to do next? Well, you're going to call them up. You're going to ask them those questions. Are you going to be a little nervous? If you haven't done this before? A couple of you said no. Sometimes we have a little fear of things we haven't done, don't we? So what happens is a lot of the people that I work with, the first thing they do is they pick up the phone. They call me up on the 800 number and go, Greg, I just got a couple of calls. What do I do? Call them back. I think sometimes people think I'm going to make the call for them. You've got to do it. You've got to pick up the phone. It's simple. Just pick up the phone, call them, go through your questionnaire. Now let's say that I'm doing this. I want to give you a real case example, and I'm going to make it... an example that might be true here in Southern California. Let's say that in the second week I get 4 phone calls. And out of those 4 phone calls, one of the guys that calls me, his name is John Smith. And John calls me up and he says, hey, Craig, I got your letter in the mail. I really appreciate you sending it out to me. But I got a problem. And I say, what's that, John? He goes, I think you sent the letter to the wrong guy. I say, why is that? He goes, well, my property is worth $150,000 and I owe $160,000 on it. Last year it was worth about $200,000, but my property value is depreciated. Is that something that could happen here? So it happens all the time, doesn't it? So now you got a property that's worth $150,000 and it's got $160,000 owed on it. How many people want that deal right now? Nobody raised their hand. He said, I will, I'll take it because you're going to show me what to do with it. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to walk through a scenario of what might happen or how to manufacture equity. So John Smith, as I'm talking to him, I say, John, you know what? Why don't you tell me a little bit about your property? I've got my questionnaire there. And after talking to John, he tells me, well, you know, I'm a contractor and, you know, I'm really thinking about going bankrupt. What happened, Craig, is I was building a couple other houses. So through my conversation, I find out that he's got a first mortgage with Bank of America for $80,000. He's got a second lien with a plumber for $40,000. And he's got a third lien with an electrician for $40,000. Now these could be banks also. For this example, we're going to use this plumber and this electrician. House value is $150,000. How much is owed on it? $160,000. So through my conversation, I say, well, listen, Mr. Smith, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to come over and meet with you this Saturday at 2 o'clock. He says, you would? And I said, yeah, I'd like to come over and take a look at your house. Now, can he list this with a real estate agent right now? Is there a real estate agent in this room? Would you want to take a listing on a property like that? It was upside down?
No, not at this stage.
Because how are you going to get paid your commission, right? Who's going to get satisfied first? The lien holders. So it's going to be real tough for John Smith to do anything. He's probably contemplating bankruptcy at this point, which is, there's a lot of bankruptcies going on in Southern California. So I say, John, I want to meet with you anyway. We set the meeting up for 2 o'clock. What do I do next? Anybody tell me? Call the plumber and the electrician? Well, I want to call him, but I'm not going to call him yet. Don't I want to find out about the liens? Yeah, title. Okay, title search. Now, how am I going to do that? Is it Doug? Dave. How am I going to do that, Dave? What's the easiest way to get information on that property? Contact the title company.
Or you can go to the county recorder.
Okay, what's the title company? If I ask the title company for what? What if I ask them for a property profile?
Preliminary title.
What, anybody ever got a property profile? Okay, you in the back, can you tell me what's in a property profile? Everything about the property.
No, it's just...
It'll have a copy of the grant deed. It'll have a copy of the comps if you request it. That's correct. It'll have a copy of any liens and encumbrances that happen to be on that property. Plus the comparable sales. Is that valuable information to have on John Smith's property? Okay, now how much is the title company going to charge me for that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Did everybody hear that? It's free. Now, I work with First American Title, and I work with Chicago Title. Those are two big title companies that I work with. And what they do is they have a research department, and they compile this information for me, and they don't charge me for it. Comes in a nice, neat little package. It's made out to Craig Meyer. What's that in the back? It's made, they make it up for Craig Meyer, and they send it out to me. Usually, if I'm in a hurry, they'll give it to me the next day. Is that fair enough from a title company? Sure it is. So I'm not paying anything for this property profile, and it's giving me all this valuable information. It's saving me from going down to the county recorder's office, isn't it? Because I can call up my title company and order it over the phone. Say, hi, I need a property profile on John Smith's house at 123 Inney Street, and I'd really like to get it tomorrow. And they send it out to me. You got a question? Okay. Oh, they'll even fax it to you, he said. How many people have fax machines or access to one? At your job, can you get stuff faxed there? They'll even fax it to you, that's right. If you're in a big hurry. So I'm talking to John Smith on Wednesday. I got an appointment with him on Saturday. I get the property profile, and sure enough, in that property profile, there's a copy of the mortgage with Bank of America, a copy of the deed of trust. There's also a copy of the foreclosure notice. The next thing I see is there's a copy of a lien from the plumber, and there's a copy of the lien from the electrician for $40,000 each. Now, is John Smith real motivated to make his payments to Bank of America anymore? No, he's not, because he's upside down, what's called upside down on this property. So I go through John Smith's, I go over to his house, knock on the door. First of all, let me back up a second. First of all, I look at the comparable sales in the neighborhood, and I notice that there's one that sold 3 weeks ago for $148,000, and there's another one that sold for $153,000 a month and a half ago. So I drive over to the neighborhood. I'm driving through, and I look at the comparable sales, and they look similar to John Smith's house. So I'm feeling reasonably comfortable that his property's worth $150,000. Is that safe? Last year it was $200,000. I go back in the comps, and last year they were selling for $200,000. So I'm feeling good. It's worth $150,000. I knock on John Smith's door. He comes to the door, and he brings me in the house. The house is in pretty good condition. So I walk through it, and I sit down. We're sitting at John Smith's table. And I look at John, and I say, John, what would you be willing to do to walk away from this deal right now? What can I do to help you out in order to get through this deal? John says, well, Craig, you know what? My foreclosure sale's scheduled in 30 days. And I say, I know that. He says, so I don't have a whole lot of stuff to choose from, but what I would like to do is if you could give me $10,000, I'd be willing to deed this property over to you right now. And I look at him a little strange, and I say, $10,000? Well, geez, John, what are you going to get in 30 days? Well, I guess I won't get anything. And you want $10,000 from me? And he says, well, yeah, that's what I kind of need to get started again. So I look at him and I say, you know what, John? I'll give you $10,000. I'll give you the $10,000 that you're looking for, provided you allow me to go in and negotiate with the lien holders. So what I'm going to do, John, is in my contract with you, I'm going to put I, Craig Meyer, hereby agree to give John Smith $10,000 for the deed to his property, contingent upon, this is important, folks, if you're going to use this strategy, contingent upon my successful negotiations with the lien holders. Got to have that in there. That's your hook. That's your contingency. You'll close this deal in 30 days. You write it right in your contract. But it's contingent upon your successful negotiations with the lien holders. What do you have now? If you just went out and did this, what do you have now? You've got a contract. Purchase order. You've got a contract to buy this property. Can John Smith go out and sell this one to anybody else? No, because you've got a contract on it, don't you? Now, if you call up Bank of America, you walk out of his house with the contract, and you call up Bank of America and say, I'd like to get some information on John's loan. I want the interest rate. I want to know how much the back payments are, what the principal balance is. Is Bank of America going to give you that information? Probably not. They probably won't. Anybody ever tried to do that? Did they give you the information? When it's in default, sometimes they will and sometimes they won't. All you have to do, though, is if you just, while you're getting your contract, if you got one little sheet of paper, I, John Smith, hereby authorize Rosalie to get information on my loan number 12345, signed John Smith. That's all you need. You fax it over to the bank and they'll give you any information you want. I recommend that you get that. Some banks will give you the information willingly, particularly in Southern California, because they really don't want to take real estate back anymore. How many banks in Southern California have REOs now? Tons of them. They'd much rather deal with it in the front than they would in the back. So when I leave the house, I've got that information. I send it out to Bank of America, and I ask them for, loan information. I want to know the principal balance, the interest rate, assumability, and everything else. I send that letter out to Bank of America. What am I going to send to the plumber and the electrician? Offer them $4,000? That's a good one. How about if I take this? Now, do they understand what's going on right now, the plumber and the electrician? Probably not. Probably don't. The first is foreclosing. Let me ask you this. What is the plumber, if Bank of America forecloses in 3 weeks, what does the plumber and the electrician get? They may not get a dime. So you might have some pretty motivated people here, wouldn't you? What I do is I take a copy of that property profile that I got from the title company, because it shows all the liens on the property and the foreclosure notice. Because this plumber might not believe me when I call him. I also get a copy of the California foreclosure law, and I highlight the section where it talks about what happens to plumbers and electricians that are in junior position. You follow me where I'm going? And I take my yellow highlighter and I highlight it. Highlight that little paragraph. And I send out a little cover letter. Dear Mr. Plumber, my name's Craig Meyer. I'm trying to work on this property with John Smith. I'll be giving you a call tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I send it out overnight delivery. One of those big red, white, and blue packages. Gets on the plumber's desk the next morning. I call him up at 11 o'clock. Hello, Mr. Plumber. Yeah? This is Craig Meyer. Did you get that package I sent you? Yeah, Craig, what is it? It looks like a bunch of legal mumbo-jumbo you got there. Well, Mr. Plumber, the John Smith. John Smith, that son of a gun? He might use a couple different words. He owes me $40,000. Well, I understand that, Mr. Plumber, and what I'm trying to do is resolve the issue. You see, John Smith owes you $40,000, but if you look on page 1, Bank of America is foreclosing. They're going to foreclose in about 30 days. And when they foreclose, you may not get a dime. Yeah? Is that right? That's right, Mr. Plumber. Look there at the California foreclosure law. But what I'm willing to do, Mr. Plumber, is I'll give you $5,000 for that $40,000 lien. Now, I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that the guy's going to, ask me if he can send a limo over to pick me up or anything, God, you're my savior, Craig. He's not going to be that excited about it. But you know what, folks? Is something better than nothing? What's he going to get in 30 days? Nothing. Something is better than nothing. In this example, let's say that he says, you know what? I'm tired of dealing with this thing. If you could get me 10 grand, I'd go ahead and settle. And I agree to do that. Now, what I'm showing you how to do here, folks, I talked to you about if you were working with limited capital, didn't I? Right now, what would you need to do? You'd have to give him $10,000 to release that lien, wouldn't you? So what I want you to do is you're going to have a piece of paper in the back of your package to your plumber. And it's going to say, I, John the plumber. You already have it filled out. I, John the plumber, hereby agree to accept, and say, Mr. Plumber, I'd like you to write in $10,000 there as full and final settlement for John Smith's lien, provided I'm paid within 30 days. Have him sign it and send it back overnight delivery to you. Do you understand what we just did there? No? Okay. I, John the plumber, hereby agree to accept $10,000 as full and final settlement for my lien number 12345 against John Smith, provided I'm paid within 30 days. The key is to put that provided I'm paid within 30 days. Because when you do that and he signs it, what do you have? You have a contract. You've got an agreement from the plumber saying that he's going to accept $10,000 for that $40,000 lien as long as you pay him in the next 30 days. What did you just do? Save $30,000. Okay, so for this example, he's going to take 10. You do the same thing with the electrician. The electrician agrees to take the $5,000. Okay? You have them both send it back to you overnight delivery. Now you've got a deal packaged up. You get your letter back from Bank of America. Bank of America says there's an $80,000 loan balance and the cash to pay off the delinquencies, and assume the loan is going to cost you $5,000 bucks. You've got to give your seller $10,000. Remember that agreement we made? How much cash do we need to do this deal right now? Can somebody tell me? $30,000. You need $30,000 cash. How much are we buying the property for? $30,000 plus the $80,000 loan, $110,000. Total cash required. Total cash required is $30,000. Total purchase price is $110,000. This is a property that last year was worth $200,000. Current appraised value is $150,000. We've got it packaged up now for $110,000. Is that a good deal? It's a great deal. Can you make any money on a deal like that? But we have one problem, don't we? Got to have $30,000. Okay, how much potential profit do we have in this right now? About $40,000 in equity. You've got 3 weeks left to close this deal. What do you do next? Sell the contract. How many people would be willing to do what I just showed you to make $5,000? If you put an ad in the LA Times and the ad said $40,000 equity for sale for $5,000, would you get any phone calls? A couple, he said. How many phone calls do you think you'd get? About 100. Is that what you said? Yeah. Who else? How many? If you put an ad in there, I know I've confused some people right now because you need $30,000, right? I'm going to straighten that out for you in just a second. But how many phone calls do you think you'd get if you put that ad in the paper? What do you think, Perry? A bunch of them.
70.
70. You'd get a lot of phone calls, wouldn't you? What do those people have that are calling you? Money. Money. They all have money. So I get a phone call in. He says, hello, what do you got? And I say, I got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It's in a great little area here. I've got it packaged up. It's worth $150,000, and I've got it packaged up for $110,000. He says, oh, yeah? I said, yeah, let me tell you about the deal, Mr. Investor. In order to do this deal, you're going to need $30,000 cash to pay off the lien holders. Okay? Now, you can take this property over with an $80,000 loan with Bank of America. So you need $30,000 cash, take over the $80,000 loan. I will assign my contract over to you for just $5,000. He says, well, let me get this straight, Craig. You got this house here. It's worth $150,000. That's right. And if I put up $30,000 for the delinquencies and $5,000 for you, which is a total of $35,000 cash, you'll assign that deal over to me, and the only thing I'm going to owe on it is that $80,000 loan to Bank of America. I say, that's right, Mr. Investor. He says, when can I take a look at it? Well, is that a good deal? What, if an investor's got $35,000 in the bank, how much money is he making on it right now? 3%. 3%? Do we have any inflation in this country? Is our inflation running at 3-4%? Do you got to pay taxes on that? Okay, he's got $30,000 in the bank and he's earning 3% interest on it. He's got to pay taxes on that 3% interest. So now it brings him down to 2%. Plus we've got inflation. Let's say our inflation's at 4. He's got a negative 2% that he's earning every single year on that money. Our investors and people that have money in the bank, including the folks in this room today, are you looking for a better rate of return on your money? Investors are all over the place. So I set up an appointment with him. He says, when can I see the property? And I said, well, let's go check it out tomorrow. Let's go check it out this afternoon. I call up John Smith. And I call up John Smith and I say, hey, John, I'm sitting here with the fellow that has the money that's going to put up the cash to do this deal. Can we come over and look at the property? Now, how many people have worked foreclosures or bought a foreclosure property? Usually in foreclosures, if a property's going to a foreclosure sale and you go knock on the door, is the guy real excited? No. Usually not. Have you ever heard the war stories about them pulling out the toilets and the sinks and damaging the house? Well, that happens a lot in foreclosures because they get upset and they pull everything out. What have we created in this situation, though? Win-win-win. That's right. That's right. What does John Smith get if we close this deal? $10,000. So do you think he's over there pulling the toilets out, or do you think he's over there mowing the lawn and waxing the floors? Probably mowing the lawn and waxing the floors. See, what we've done is we've created, just like this gal said over here, we've created a win-win-win situation. Everybody needs to win in a real estate deal in order to be successful. That's my belief. Everybody needs to win. Yes, sir.
Why not to negotiate with Bank of America to buy the loan and to reduce it
What?
1,000 to
Yeah.
60, 50, 40, whatever?
The question is why not negotiate with Bank of America to reduce the loan? And I'm going to do that next. That's the next thing that we're getting to. I know I just create a lot of questions as I go through this. If you guys could really help me out and write those questions down, I'll probably answer most of them through my presentation. I've been asked a lot of these questions, and when I'm doing the presentations and the questions come, I try to build the answers in the next time that I speak. So I'm going to probably answer most of your questions here. Now I go over to I take the investor and I go over to the house, and we look at John Smith's house, and the investor says, well, I want to do the deal, Craig. What do I do next? Sell him the contract. I, Craig Meyer, hereby assign my beneficial interest in this contract dated 3/5/94 to Joe Investor for the sum of $5,000. Joe Investor agrees to accept XYZ liens. We'll close within 5 days. He doesn't have to go out and get a new loan or anything, does he? So all we got to do is close this deal. He puts up we open up escrow. He puts up his $35,000. What does the escrow person do? Pays everybody. That's right, Ron. He's going to pay the plumber. He's going to pay the electrician. They're going to pay the cash to the seller. They're going to pay the delinquencies to bring the loan current. And what else are they going to do? Pay you $5,000 for putting this deal together. Now, at the beginning of this talk today, I told you that $5,000 is not a lot of money in a real estate deal, and it's not. But can you see why it would be important to get your first deal done? If you're using this strategy, and this is a powerful, powerful strategy to work in the market that you folks are in right now. Los Angeles is the best market in the country to work foreclosures right now. There's more going on here than anywhere else in the country. Now, what are you going to do with the rest of those people that called? Get their name and number. What if you had 40 people call up? Create an investors list. What kind of questions would you ask them? How much money you got? Ron doesn't mess around here. He goes straight to it. How much money do you have? What are you looking for? Is it liquid? You see, you want to start to build your investor list, because how many people could we sell this deal to right here?
One.
Just one.
You only sell it to one, but you have many who would like it.
You have many who would like it, but you can only sell this deal to one person. If you sell it to more than one person, you're going to get in trouble. Stay away from that. So what you're going to do is start creating your investor list. You're going to start building up and asking people what they're looking for. Now, if you're sending out 50 letters a week, and you tell this investor on the other end, well, I'm sending out 50 letters a week to people in default. And I have quite a few people that are calling me. Now, Mr. Investor, I don't have another deal set up right now, but I've got a couple other people I'm talking to. Do you think that he might want you to call him back when you get your next deal put together? Sure, because he called you. See, one of the things that I found, folks, in working in real estate and in foreclosures, it's much more powerful when I have people with money calling me looking for a deal than it is when I'm out there with a deal pounding the pavement looking for money. And so I've created just little things that I do a little bit differently than a lot of other people that have helped me become successful. And that's just one of the little ways to do it. Now, the first thing you've got to do, though, is get that deal packaged up. Who else might negotiate? This gentleman alluded to it a minute ago. The bank. Anybody ever seen anything like this? Bank of America sells $340 million in bad loans. The bank refused to disclose the sale price, but said it expects to show a gain on the sale of the troubled loans, which already had been written down to between 40 cents on the dollar and 50 cents on the dollar. Now they're selling them for 60 to 70? Well, if they're selling them for 60 to 70 or 50, is it better than the $80,000 that we're going to pay before? That means if you got a $100,000 loan and you could buy it for 50 cents on the dollar, you're going to reduce the loan amount to $50,000. Is that another, would you want to pursue that with the bank? You might want to ask the question anyway, huh? They're in default. Look at what this guy says. Joseph DeLuca, head of real estate at a big New York bank. He boasts that his department rang up about $400 million in sales of individual assets over the past 5 quarters at prices averaging 59% of original face value. This guy is boasting. He's boasting to the people in his business that he got 59% of face value on his loans. I don't know how he does it. That means if you got a $100,000 loan, you can buy that loan for $59,000. If you talk to Joseph DeLuca about it. Would that improve your real estate deal? Would it help you out here in Southern California where the real estate market has gone sort of upside down? Because now what you have to do is you have to have cutting-edge strategies. You have to be creative, and you have to learn how to manufacture equity in these real estate transactions. That's what we're showing you right now. Yes?
This market's upside down, so the equity's going down. Well, how are you going to get somebody to buy something with the equity going down like that?
Well, one of the things I just talked about, Mark's question was, how do you get somebody to buy something with the equity down? On that example that I used, and we can go through 100 scenarios. I don't have time to go through them all today, so I tried to pick one where we had a 25% decrease in equity. Property value was $200,000 last year, went down to $150,000 this year, which I think is realistic. So what you're doing is you're creating an opportunity in today's market, and you're selling it out at today's value. What if you had to discount that? See, the investor on that deal, he's getting an extra $35,000 worth of equity. So, you've got to make some determinations when you're out there doing it. There are thousands of opportunities here in Los Angeles. Each one of them is going to be a little bit differently. One of the things I do with the people that I work with on my team is if you're a person that hasn't done a lot of these real estate deals before, you're going to want another set of eyes to look at it. And you can fax your deals up to me, and I'll take a look at them and make some suggestions and that sort of thing. But, when you're in a market like this, every deal is going to be different. And there's just thousands and thousands of opportunities. Now, what if you're going through that? You're going through your foreclosures, and you notice a bank on there, like Bank of America. Is Bank of America in trouble right now? Well, I don't know. Bank of America seems like they're pretty strong right now. Yeah, they're doing pretty good, but they're. Yeah, what if you had a list like this of?
Glendale Fed isn't though.
Glendale Fed isn't. Thanks, Elwood. Elwood's got all the answers over here. Now, this is a list of the combined U.S. troubled bank and thrift lists. Critically undercapitalized and significantly undercapitalized banks and thrifts. In California, what about Bank of Los Angeles is on here, Bank of Newport, Bank of Oakland, Bank of San Francisco. These are all different banks that are just in California. Now, if you were going through your foreclosure list and all of a sudden you noticed that Bank of Los Angeles was the foreclosing lender on that property, would the light go on? Sure it would. Because you'd want to contact Bank of Los Angeles and make them an offer on that loan, wouldn't you? Because what are they looking for? They're looking for cash because they're on this Fed list. They're on this list from the feds saying that you're undercapitalized and you better turn yourselves around or we're going to come in and shut the doors. So they're trying to raise cash. And if they're on this list, you're going to want to pursue that one a little bit harder. Now, let me give you an example of how I might help you if you were doing these real estate deals. There's a couple in Escondido. Their names are John and Lana. And they had a real estate transaction that they were buying. The property was worth, it was a 3-unit, and it was worth about $160,000 last year. They had it in escrow, and they had it tied up for $120,000. Yes? The question was, how do you acquire the Fed list? The people that I work with on this strategy, everybody gets a copy of it. Everybody that works with me on my team on these strategies is going to get a copy of that. Now, John and Lana had a deal, and they were so excited to get started with their first transaction that they locked this deal up for I think it was $120,000. And they faxed up the deal to me. They said, Craig, we're all excited. We've got this great deal. We've got it packaged up for $120,000, and we've even got somebody that wants to buy it. Because if you're buying real estate, you got to sell it if you want to make money, right? Said, we even have somebody that wants to buy it. But the problem is they only want to give us $120,000 for it. I said, well, that doesn't sound like too good of a deal. You know, you got to make some money. Let's not just wash dollars here. So they faxed me up a copy of the deal. And I looked at it, and the foreclosing lender was a church for $85,000. Frank says, ooh, a couple of you did. It was a church for $85,000. And it looked kind of odd to me. I'd never seen anything like that before. So we came up with a list of questions. You know, I mean, I've done a lot of deals. I'd never seen a church foreclosing before. And so we came up with a list of questions, and they called the church and found out that the church had received this note, or this $85,000 mortgage, from a gal that had died, and she had willed it to her church.
Zero cost.
Well, not zero. So oh yeah, the bank had zero cost. So the bank ended up with this $85,000 mortgage. They didn't know what to do with it. The people weren't making the payments, and so the foreclosure process had started. Well, what happened along